What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Amanda and Rich Show. Today it's mostly going to be about me, Rich. Today we're going to be talking about how to get your focus on while studying. So sometimes it's hard to, actually sit down and start studying because, you have a million other things. Like when you start studying, you're like, oh no, I gotta check my phone. It's 5:09. Maybe you want to go hang out with your friends or play video games or... So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 4 tips on how to actually sit down, get focused, and start studying. So first tip, ease into it. What I mean by this is don't start sitting down at your table and say, all right, I'm going to do 20 hours of studying. That's a little exaggeration. I'm going to do, 2 hours of straight studying and not stop. I'm going to get so much done. But what actually ends up happening is, you go on your computer, you start writing your little essay, and then you maybe go on YouTube or whatever. So ease into it in that start with 5 minutes of studying, then take a 5-minute break. And then after your break's over, 10 minutes, then another 5-minute break, 15 minutes, so on and so forth, up until 25. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later on in the video. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for you to actually, start kind of grinding the gears in your head, so to speak. So ease into it. So my second tip is take breaks. This interval break kind of system really helps prolong your effective study time. Just because you study for 2 hours does not mean that's an effective 2 hours. Let's say a person, using the break method may study for, let's say an hour total with their breaks. And as opposed to somebody who studied for 2 hours with no breaks, the person who only studied for an hour with the breaks might be more effective and efficient in their time. So with this method, you're actually potentially learning more in less time, which is, what we all want. So most people's attention spans are not very long. In fact, I think the average attention span is about 20 minutes. So if you, like I said before, try and sit down for 2 hours and work straight, it's not gonna happen. So take breaks. Recommended time for a break is about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on however long it takes you to feel like you kind of rejuvenated yourself. So, and also experiment with yourself in that, see how long you can pay attention for. It could be as little as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or it could be as long as, I don't know, an hour for maybe some crazy people out there. Definitely not me. I'm about 25 minutes, and after that, I'm lost. So tip number 3 is get motivated as to why you're actually doing the studying in the first place. So if you're having a hard time, trying to find motivation for actually studying, use your end goal as that motivation. So try and figure out the class you're taking and how it relates to your end goal. You need it to graduate, and more than that, you probably want to graduate to get a job and maybe be an artist or maybe become a doctor. So try and figure out a way that the class you're actually taking, the class you're actually studying for, is relatable to what you actually want to do. I remember when I was in college, I had to take a class called the History of India, and I had no business being in that class. I was not interested at all. It was one of those classes where you had to, take it to feel like a prerequisite or something. And, I figured, this would be, that was my favorite option out of them all. Cause I think the other one was Megan Technology or something. I don't even know. So what I did was I told myself, if anything, this is just gonna be making me a more worldly person, that I'm gonna know more about, different cultures. And this is important to me because, as a future doctor, I'm going to, have a better background of people's backgrounds, essentially, which, can only be beneficial to you. And so I kind of use that as rationale for, trying my best to succeed in that class. So try and figure out something like that with your class and figure out how it's going to relate to your end goal or your future job or your future, goals. All right, so tip number 4, find a quiet place to study. This cannot be emphasized enough. The more you minimize distractions, the more you can actually study. So if you're trying to study at your kitchen table and there's people all around you, you smell food, you see people eating, people having conversations, that's not the optimal place to study because you're getting distracted, right? And so the most suitable place you want to study is just find a quiet place such as a library. Try not to sit next to, for me, I try not to sit next to a window because I like to look outside, see what the leaves are doing, right? So try and find, a quiet place and preferably have it be the same place that you go to each and every time, just so you build kind of a habit towards it and your brain knows that when you're sitting at, this desk, you're studying. So try and disconnect from the world as much as possible. Put your phone away, put it on silent, do whatever you have to do to try and avoid getting messages. If you have to use your laptop for whatever reason, maybe you're writing an essay, I recommend an app called Self-Control. I made a video about it and I'll link it down below, and also I'll try and get something to pop up over here-ish. We'll see if it does or if it does not. And what that's gonna do is actually kind of block certain websites such as Facebook or Reddit or whatever it may be that you frequently visit, so you're not distracted by them. And another bonus tip I have is that if you have a constant thought that keeps popping up in your mind, such as like, oh, I have to do the laundry today, or oh, I can't forget I had this appointment. Take a separate piece of paper, write it down, whatever thoughts come to your mind that keep persisting through, and put that piece of paper to the side so that you know that you're not gonna forget, or you can just go back to those thoughts right after you're done studying. So I completely agree. It's hard to sit down and start focusing on studying, especially when you don't want to, but hopefully some of these tips help you out, and sometimes you just have to start doing it. Like I said with the first tip, ease yourself into it. Nobody's asking you to do 2 hours straight. It's gonna take practice, and it's gonna be like a mental strength that you have to build up upon. So if you've never really focused before and never really tried that hard at studying before, you're not gonna automatically just start studying for 2 hours or whatever it may be. You have to ease yourself into it, and you have to build that mental strength up just like any other muscle in the body. Build up that mental strength so that you can eventually start focusing more effectively for longer periods of time and get more work done in a shorter amount of time. So if you have another tip that I did not mention, definitely leave that in a comment below to help out other viewers with this video. If you like this type of video and you want to see more, you can also recommend a different type of video, and make sure to subscribe. You can subscribe either on the bottom left, I think, bottom right, or you can just hit that subscribe button right below the Amanda and Rich Show. So thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.